my goal today is that this storytelling is all about let's find who you are, find your voice, then the story will take care of itself. Okay? And if you're the funny one, be the funny one. If you're the rowdy one, be the rowdy one. If you are the mischievous one, be the mischievous one. Find your voice, because then people can't take their eyes off you because you're being genuine. Okay? So today, the next hour and a half is going to be, we're going to be trying a bunch of things just so we can find what is our story. Why I love storytelling is because it brings you closer to a benefit to somebody else. That's when it's a story. Otherwise, I can just stand here and talk for hours about, the sari I wore or what I'm this, that, whatever. But unless it affects you, it's of benefit to you, why do you care? Why should you care? So the first thing about storytelling is about who are you talking to and how can you make it interesting for them. So that's the only thing you have to remember. So I talked about two things. One is, what is your genuine voice? And don't be afraid. One thing I'll tell you, you are in this room full, there's a meeting going on, and then like all these terms being thrown around, they sound so important, so interesting and all that stuff. You don't know what's going on at all. And you're like, I'm the dumbest person in this room, so I'm just not going to say anything. Okay? And it's like some eminent Nobel laureate talking there, right? So you're like, okay, finally you gather your courage and you put your hand up and say, what does ABCD mean? And you know what you hear? Shh, in the room. Because everybody heaving a sigh of relief because nobody understood. But nobody had the guts to put the hand up and say, I don't understand. Okay? So you feel like, oh, I'm going to feel like such an idiot putting my hand up or getting up and saying something. But when you do it, there'll be at least 100 people behind you saying, thank God she said it because I had no guts to say it. Okay? So find your voice and don't be afraid, because no matter how you are, when you're on the stage, nobody else can be in that space. If you're making a mistake, you know who knows that? You. Today, like we were doing, and somebody came out and said, oh, my slide wasn't there. I said, you know who knows that? Only you. Can you tell this morning whose slide was missing? No, right? So I'm just like, who cares? I mean, it's your story. You're like upset because one slide didn't show up, but it didn't matter to the audience, right? So that's enough about a little bit of background of story. Pull up your cell phones, all of you. And in the cell phones, pull up a photo. Now what I want you to do is pull up a photo that think really is personal to you, something that tells your story. It need not be a picture of you. It could be a picture of your boss you hate, or the table you love, or the sari your grandmother gave you. It doesn't matter. Just pull up a photo that you think it has a story. Now I'm going to do what in most conferences they make you do, which I used to hate, but it's really great. Turn to another person. Pick someone. I mean, it's odd numbers, so somebody has to talk to somebody behind or something like that. Figure it out. You guys are good at. So first, take a minute, pick the picture, then pick who you're going to talk to. So I'll give you a minute to do that. Turn to the person next to you and explain why this picture is important. When 2 minutes is up, it's the other person's turn. Okay? Okay, great. Now Swati told Surabhi her story. Surabhi told Swati her story, right? Now when you go to the other pair, Swati has to tell them Surabhi's story, as though it's you. So when someone else is telling your story, you need to observe two things. Which parts of it they were saying was really interesting, which part of it sounds boring.
Karan had an interesting story, and so when he was listening to my story, he was a very active listener. So he added context to it. He was asking the right questions that helped me better. And when he told again, he added it with it. So he told the story a lot better than what I had.
Now I got married.
His wife Zore is still wondering, what did I do?
So yeah, he asked the right question. He was active listener.
How about you?
she got my story totally wrong. Playing football and she was talking about some nonsense about polo.
I thought it was polo.
You must have confused her by showing both the photos.
Because this photo, but I thought it was polo.
But even the photo and football, we got a problem.
No, I'm joking. She did actually a very good. I made up this one. I actually showed her my picture on polo, and she did tell an accurate story. I'm just a bad boy and trying to create problems or whatever. But what was interesting, I guess, was the whole exercise was how we love to hear the unique angle of every person, and that's what sticks in our mind. And the old, I guess, kind of cliche is we as human beings first make our decisions by emotion, and then we try to use logic to substantiate that. So if you learn how to tell a good story that touches people's emotions, they already decide they want to work with you, whether it is a personal relationship, whether it's business relationship. And then they say once they love you and like you, they will come and try to say, okay, let's see, he's offering us this product, is it really good or not? But first, they really like you. And the fact, the way she told her story, it was so charming that how they had marriage based on love, and how that inspired, I guess, or helped another friend of theirs who wanted to get married instead of pre-arranged marriage by love, how they got courage to go and do that, and how she and her husband were trying to support them and make that happen. It was a very touching story.
So when you listen to others, you learn something about them. So what was your story, and how did she tell it?
Okay, so my story was a picture about my two girls, and my elder one, who turned 14, and she was wearing her first salwar, and how I was trying to capture that picture, and she did against it, and after we were going for a function, and then after the function she came and she vouched, saying that she will not wear a salwar again. So that was the story that I was telling her. And she literally captured the entire aspect of it. But I think the energy which I spoke about, I think that was missing.
Yeah, it's not her daughter, right?
Exactly.
How about you? What was your story?
My story was about my 10-year-old daughter. She generally doesn't like taking pictures, but this one time we had gone for an overnight weekend getaway, and she was very excited seeing a vintage post box, and actually asked us to take pictures, and was laughing all the way through, and just a very happy picture of her that I'll always cherish. And Shirley was very nice in capturing the emotions, the excitement, and also stressing the fact that it was after a very long time that we were able to spend, she was able to get undivided attention from us and her elder brother, so the happiness was coming through in the picture, so she captured very nicely.
Okay, so she got that nuance also.
Absolutely.
How about you guys?
So the picture I used was, apart from working and all, I like experimenting on photography and all. So this picture, when any stranger sees, people have questions: who is holding your hand? Is there somebody else with you and all that? That's what was the story about the picture. She captured it well, but the excitement for which I had because I experimented was not there. I mean,
She's like going, what the heck does she mean? Why is she so excited about this experiment? I don't get it, but keep it. Holding it.
As she said, she had the facts right. I mean, I also realized that she is a very silent and calm person. You know, that excitement you don't generally see. I mean, for everything she won't jump off. She has a lot of patience, yes, but then that's how she is.
No, she's already a psychologist. Okay, now what was your picture and how did she say? Time to get back, sister.
Yeah, so in fact she's right. So I'm much calmer than she is. She's super excited. So I showed a picture of my two kids.
and she made a beautiful story out of it with a lot of details which I myself never said. And especially, I mean, she made up a story. I have an 8-year-old son that, I'm really worried about him because he's handsome, he's going to get some girlfriends home and he'll give me a headache. I never said anything about it. But it was very exciting to hear my story from her. I think she's a very exciting person, so she got excited and made up a story, and that was really lovely. So,
Yeah. So it's so interesting, and the reason is watch yourself, what your voice is, which is fantastic, and don't change it. Now it doesn't mean now you have to become more fact-oriented or anything. Heaven forbid, there's enough accountants in this world. But the point is, are we getting the essence correct? Okay. So like in this, like one of the things, when she's talking about your child, she's equally excited even though it's not her child, right? So in theater, they have this thing called projection. It's like you may be playing a character that's not you. Like you're getting up on stage, you're talking about something, but that's not you. But you have to put yourself in the shoes of that person and become that person. So when you're playing a character you've never experienced that, but you still have to do the background research about that person to be in that space. So. And the other thing about the two of you I just wanted to say is that you can tell that she's a dreamer. Right? She makes things, she's already thinking of her 8-year-old son having girlfriends and, her not liking her. And now if you give her 5 minutes, there'll be like a Sasti Kaboot will come out of her. There's a soap opera coming out right here. So that's fantastic, and you can tell by the picture she showed, very experimental, whatever kind of. She's just like, I'm a kid. Let's not make a big deal. So this is another thing that's very, very, kind of gender specific. Women feel very that I have to talk about my child or my husband or my whatever. But like look at Kamran, he talked about polo. It's sort of, and again, I don't mean to say it's the way it is, but I'm just saying a lot of times we feel compelled somehow to stand in that space. So one thing I invite you to is step out of that space, because it's okay. You don't need to prove you're a great mom, great wife, great daughter. Everybody, you should know that. Don't worry about it. So if you want to talk about something, if you want to represent yourself, talk about what you love to do also. Put that ahead also. So they say it in the planes, right? Before putting the mask on somebody else, put it on yourself, okay? Find out who you are first, before you are something to somebody else. So that's the thing I want you to also think of when somebody says, tell me something about yourself. Your first thing is about whose daughter you are, whose wife you are, whose mother you are, or, it's sort of, and there's nothing wrong with it, but have a story for who you are. Whatever that is, okay? So that's one experiment. We all have a list of people we want to meet, right? If you could meet anyone in the world, who would that be? Shah Rukh Khan? Roger Federer. Indira Nooyi? Hold on. Amir Khan. Rahman? Hrithik Roshan? Ganguly. Okay. Sundar Pichai. Okay. No. You're all not my usual audience. So I think Shah Rukh Khan started it and everybody went that way. So, but still, I'll prove my point, is that when I ask this question, 90% of the names are non-Indians. It's Roger Federer, or it could be, Messi or whatever, And the second thing is, if they are Indians, they follow into 3 categories. They're sports people, or they're film people, or they're politicians. 90% of the time, okay? But these are not the real heroes of our world, right? The real people, when you meet somebody like a Prakash Amte who lives in the jungle, he's like a Magsaysay Award winner. How many of you know how many Magsaysay Award winners are there in India? Okay, this is like the world is recognizing the most amazing contribution made by these people. So when you meet Prakash Amte, he's living in the jungles, serving the poor, taking care of their health, and he's so funny. Like I was interviewing him and he says something like, He wears like a little, you know, what do you call, like a banyan, what do you call, like a vest in his house in shorts, and he works there. All these foreign dignitaries come to meet Dr. Amte, right? They go there and they think he's the household help. And they ask him, can we meet Dr. Amte? He's like, yeah, sure. And he goes in, he puts a shirt on and he comes out and says, hi, I'm Dr. Amte. Why is it that when I say, who do you want to meet, we don't say Arunachalam Muruganantham or, the first Padman or, why don't we say this? Because we don't hear enough about them. We only want to meet those we hear about. And the people we hear about are the same ones over and over and over again. And then they are here, right? And heaven forbid if Amir Khan says one wrong thing, he'll be down there, right? We like heroify people and then we just like drag them down. So the problem is we hero worship things. We don't celebrate what we have around them. So for me, it's the misfits. It's the people who think differently. It's somebody you kind of say, what the heck was he saying? Are the ones that really are fascinating to me. When you want to tell your story, remember that you are a hero. There's nothing like only Shah Rukh Khan has a story, We know that story. I am more interested in your story, and you should be more interested in others' story. When you make others' story interesting, you become interesting. Okay? So that's the reason I wanted you all to see this, is that this is at the core of what we do, is that how do we find these people, these amazing people? You heard Gayatri Jolly this morning, she's a Ring Fellow. And you meet anybody who works, I think, they are all a little off. They're all a little different. Because we want that. Okay? So the point is, want to tell your story, who you are, stand up for who you are. Even if you're a misfit, it's okay. Because that is what the world needs.
In most of the examples, it shows people who are extrovert, they can tell better stories. So what's your suggestion for people who are introvert?
Okay.
Because I've seen many introvert also speak better stories.
Yeah.
So which was not evident here, so I wanted to know your point of view.
Yeah. Why do you think an introvert won't want to tell their story?
It may not be worth of other people's time.
Okay, so
Telling
that's
my
one.
story.
Okay, and what else?
Why should I tell my story? It's I'm okay with it, and I'm okay not telling it.
Okay. So let's take those two things. The first one is, why will others care about my story? That's the first one, right? That means you don't have confidence in your story. And I agree with you that there could be 10 other things I want to talk about that's not worth your time. Okay, and that's true. But if there is something I believe everybody should know, then that becomes the center point. You no longer matter. Only the story matters. If you think somebody else will benefit by you telling the story, it's your job to tell that story. So first you have to believe that your story is worth telling. And the second thing you said is like, why do I need to say I'm okay having it to myself? That's also true. I mean, in terms of if you feel this is something for myself I'm doing, others don't need to know. Like she can say, I want to lose weight, but I don't need to tell anybody. But if she tells to somebody and they are inspired by, wow, what she did, I also want to do it, then she's influencing somebody else. So a lot of times what holds us back falls into two big categories. One is we don't believe in that story enough. And the second thing is we are worried about how we look when we tell that story. The biggest fear is I get up and I say something and nobody laughs. I mean, I'm like thinking I'm telling this funny story, I say it and like everybody's like this. It's like the worst nightmare of anything. So we are worried about how do I look. When that happens, there's like the stomach turns, right? You just feel like you're going to faint and drop. But your focus is on yourself. As long as the focus is on yourself, you can't tell a story. If the story becomes the center, you forget what you look like. You forget what you sound like. So the only thing I want to leave you with is that to give a great talk, it's preparation. It's really preparation. You know, giving a 1 minute talk is tougher than giving a 1 hour talk, because every word counts in 1 minute. So when you do it, write it. People say that, oh, if I rehearse, it may come across like I'm, you know, regurgitating fact. No, actually, once you know the lines, they just come so naturally to you. So preparation. You know, there's nothing called a fantastic speaker or a not good speaker. People are riveted by your genuineness. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. So my invitation to all of you is find your voice and don't let anyone tell you what your voice is. There's way too many people telling you what your voice is. It shouldn't matter. Your voice is yours in its. I mean, there's a TV series called This Is Us story of something like that. I'm watching, and one of the main characters is this huge woman. You know, like she's overweight. You can't take your eyes off this character because she's so genuine in whatever she is, in her insecurities or whatever. There is no way for somebody who weighs that much to be in such a popular series. That's what conventional wisdom tells you. It doesn't matter. So that's my invitation to all of you. So I hope this met your expectations of what it is. But honestly, make storytelling a part of your life. You know, we run actually a whole weekend courses, and it's not enough. You need to like immerse yourself in, write. Just write whatever is in your head. Keep a diary. Keep yourself, be your own listener. Okay, so first find your voice, and whatever it is, you have something to say. And sometimes it is about disagreeing with somebody at home, it's about disagreeing with somebody at work, whatever it is, everything is your story. Everything you choose to do is your story. Okay, and be in that. And I would love to see a lot of you standing on stage and giving talks. Thank you very much.